Shanti. Good morning. One of the purposes of Baba giving gyan to us, and this applies very particularly to the ways of India and not so much to the ways of the Western world, definitely applies throughout Asia. And that is the power families have over people, the power of customs, the power of tradition. And they may or may not have any logic, but because they're so strong, people are quite damaged by them. And particularly there is financial damage by the expectations that the society has of money that people would shell out for rituals and especially weddings. And these are things which actually ruin people financially. And Baba says they also ruin you socially and emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, and so on. And so he says that you have to become free from them. Baba frees you from them, but they do not let you be free very easily. So this is 27th of January. And the essence, sweet children, your days of happiness are now coming. Renounce being concerned, or do not be concerned about public opinion and the traditions and expectations of the iron-aged family systems and traditions, and move forward with earning your spiritual income. Claim the full inheritance from the Father, Gyan, and on the basis of Gyan, yoga, which gives you your income. And the question is, what effort should you make so that your last thought leads you to the right destination? Ant mati so gati. So mati is not just only thought, but it's a whole mental positioning about what you are in the face of death. And if you know that you're an immortal soul and you're going to God, that's a good positioning to take. So the answer, Baba says, forget whatever you have studied until now. That means the religious studies, and particularly the idea of omnipresence and that the soul is immune to the effect of karma. So just simply remember one thing: remain in silence. Consider yourselves to be souls and focus your attention on the Father. The Father does not give you children difficulties, but saves you from wandering from door to door. And he also frees the poor children from incurring debts to pay for weddings and big expensive rituals. Baba says, children, practice purity and your final thoughts will lead you to your right destination. The usefulness of purity in the face of death is that normally when people are about to die, they remember their relatives. And that will bring you into reincarnation according to karmic debts. But if you leave your body in soul consciousness, remembering God, the Supreme Soul, then you will go there. So your last thoughts actually determine where you go, what your reincarnation is. So it's also called the last sanskara. And the last sanskara is also the word used for your funeral. And the song is, have patience, O mind, your days of happiness are about to come. Om Shanti. This is a song of the path of devotion, but people do not understand the meaning. Only you children know. Only you children know that Iron Age is finishing. We have to get past the war and the natural calamities and so on. Then the days of happiness. So our days of happiness that we are making effort for are now truly coming. And the more spiritual effort you make, the greater the happiness you will receive. So spiritual effort applies to the practice of yoga and pure karma. You are filling your aprons, your intellects, by following Shrimat, that is, by studying Gyan. The path of bhakti is called the night of Brahma, and the devotees do not know when the Father, the Purifier, will come. But you children know that at the end of the Iron Age and the beginning of the Golden Age is the confluence age. And you are now awakening the devotees from this sleep of ignorance of Kumbhakarna. People remember the One Father, the Purifier, the ocean of knowledge. They do not remember the ocean of water from which the rivers of water have emerged. There, at Triveni Sangam, there is a meeting of rivers, and that is different from the confluence of the rivers and the ocean. So the big confluence of rivers and ocean is in Diamond Harbour near Calcutta. So the speciality is, or the important one, is the meeting of the ocean and the rivers. So Triveni is where the devotees go, the meeting of the three rivers. But those three rivers, having met, they carry on toward the ocean, and there is the big confluence where the rivers flow into the ocean. So there has to be the ocean. The true Father who establishes the Golden Age is telling you the true story of becoming Narayan from an ordinary man. And people remember him and they call out saying, "O Purifier, come." Only when God comes at the confluence age can it be said that there is the meeting of souls with the Supreme Soul. So this is called the real meeting, the true meeting. So you can write, this meeting of the souls and the Supreme Soul takes place only once, and that is at the most auspicious confluence age, when the impure world changes and becomes the pure world. So that, the Golden Age, is the pure world, and this, the Iron Age, is the impure world. So this confluence is the true meeting when the Purifier comes, purifies the impure souls, and takes all the souls back with himself to the home, to the world of light. So this meeting of souls with the Supreme Souls takes place for the purpose of making the impure world pure. So world means human society. A cartoon of this should be created. A cartoon is a word that is used in the world of art for a sketch. Not a cartoon like Mickey Mouse. The Baba explains all this to you in advance. The devotees generally go and assemble at the confluence of the three rivers, Triveni, at the time of Shivratri. And you should all be inspired to explain all these things. Those who can explain well must also explain very strategically. Otherwise, you just keep on talking and talking and talking. You have to take people logically, step by step, from where they are to where you want them to be. So you should explain the true and false interpretations of the Kumbh Mela. So the Kumbh is the pot, and the pot is the head. If you turn your head upside down, it's a pot, but it's an upside down pot, and that's the pot. And so what is the meeting in the pot is a meeting of the Supreme Soul with the soul. Shiv Baba, Brahma Baba occurs inside there, and then all the people come and listen to the water that emerges from the pot, the water of knowledge. So this is the symbolism that they celebrate in bhakti, but they have no idea what it means. So this is the confluence age when the world becomes pure, and therefore it is called the true meeting, Sangam, the confluence. The devotees are sleeping in the sleep of ignorance of Kumbhakarna. So this word Kumbh also comes in Kumbhakarna. So you see the pot of water being poured into his ear and all the water flowing out the other side. So you can tell the knowledge to the people who are spiritually asleep, and it'll go in one ear and out the other, so it doesn't do any good. You have to get them to grasp what you're saying. So they believe that God is omnipresent and he is the purifier. Now, if he's the purifier, it means he has to come to purify everyone. So he can't be omnipresent and come. That's not logical. You know that this is the confluence age where there is the stage of ascent. There are confluence ages with all the other ages, golden to silver, silver to copper, copper to iron, but that's a state of decline, rapid decline, and this is the stage of extremely rapid ascent. After the golden age, then you have to decline. And it is said that time has passed and all that time is now over. So the world gradually becomes old and ultimately becomes completely old after aging gradually. And the symbol of the swastika refers to this, starting at Sato Pradhan, moving to Sato, Rajo, and Tamo. So you know that you are making the effort to claim the inheritance of continuous happiness, wealth, prosperity, health from the Father. So Baba inspires you to make very easy effort. It's simply a matter of positioning yourself mentally. No physical, difficult rituals and hatha yoga practices, fasting and everything that's hard. He doesn't give you this type of hardship. And he saves you from stumbling from door to door. That means going from one guru to another, one temple to another. Very great expense is incurred when you hold a wedding. And poor people have to take loans to get their children married, their daughters married. So Baba frees you from having to incur these debts. He also saves you from falling into hell, as well as from all that expenditure. And this is the reason why many poor ones come here. Many very good Kumaris used to come here, but then suddenly they were caught in a storm of lust and they got engaged and got married. So you fall in love and then that's it. Then after marriage, they repented and realized that they had made a big mistake. It takes time. The Father tries hard to save you. Wealthy ones do not tend to come here, and neither do they claim the inheritance, nor do they allow their creation, their children, to earn a true income. Wealthy ones, materialist, focused on getting more money and going with the tradition of their clan. But poor people also have many unclean customs and systems. Public opinion and the traditions of the families completely destroy you. And when some children do not study this Gyan well, they end up in the depths of hell. So the Father has come to remove you from the depths of hell. But some don't leave hell. You have to make your own choice. You're not animals with a ring through your nose that can be pulled over this side with a rope in order to be saved. No, you have to decide for yourself. Baba continues to explain to you. Because the Father is the creator, he explains to you, children. Creator means Father. You are his children. He created you. So children earn a true income and also inspire your children to do the same. Nevertheless, there are many complications. Complications means conflicts. There is a conflict if the wife comes in Gyan and her husband doesn't, or if the husband comes and then his sons don't. Everything is explained to you very clearly, that the main focus of attention is purity. Children write to Baba, Baba, I got angry. And so it is explained, why do you get angry with your children? Why do people get angry with their children? They take out their frustrations on their children because it's safe. They can't do anything against them. It is shown in the path of bhakti that Jashoda, the mother of Krishna, tied him to a wooden pole, but there wasn't anything like that. In the world of the golden age, children follow highest code of conduct, and they are also very delightful. Here too, some children are very good, and they have good manners in the way they speak to others. There are so many children here. Some do not follow Shrimat or follow the rules at all. Of course, we have to have some rules. It's a big family, and so there are rules. People who work in the military ask Baba about food because the military gives them food to eat, which is not vegetarian. What should we do? Baba says, make effort to get pure food. And when it's impossible, then eat your food after giving it drishti. What else can you do? But you can get bread, and you can take honey, butter, potatoes, etc. They do have those things, and you can get that. But whatever habit you have, it will continue. You must ask Baba in every difficult situation, and Baba will make everything easy for you. The most important is to practice purity. Some children are such that they completely ruin their family. They waste their father's property and defame his name. So a son whose father is very wealthy inherits the wealth and just spends it recklessly. There are many examples of that. It is in the intellects of you children that your days of happiness are coming. So why not make effort and claim the highest on high status? Only by making effort will you claim a status. Baba and Mama are seated on the throne. The God and Goddess of knowledge then become the Emperor and Empress. So Gyan, Gyaneshwari to Raj, Rajeshwari and Rajeshwar. So God gives you knowledge, and if you take this knowledge and make others knowledgeable like you, then you will become princes and princesses. Follow the mother and the father. And there is no question of blind faith in this. Some people call themselves followers of certain sannyasis, but they do not truly follow them. They don't become sannyasis themselves. Those who want to belong to the sannyas dharma would not stay at home. They would make the effort to become sannyasis themselves. And the path of bhakti began according to drama. Everyone and everything must go through the stages of sato, rajo, and tamo. There is decline. So first look at Shri Krishna. He definitely has to take 84 births. And now he too must be in his last birth, because then only he could come at the beginning. In the last birth, you meet God, and that takes you to your first birth. So you can't come to your first birth unless you're in your last birth. You can't arrive at the highest stage unless you decline fully. So the only evolutionary time is the confluence age. Lakshmi and Narayan are number one, and they are now at the end, and then they will claim number one. So who made them into the masters of the world? And when did they receive this inheritance? You children know that they received the inheritance at the confluence age, and the whole kingdom gets established at this time. So you Brahmins have taken 84 births. You are now playing your parts. These matters have to be understood very well. Some imbibe certain things and others imbibe other things. This is a matter of making effort. Because there's so much paradox in Gyan, people take one side or the other, but you have to take all of it. The Father is personally speaking to you through the mouth of Prajapita Brahma, and he says, I have arrived. So remember me, and your sins will be resolved through this yoga. And the soul says, yes, Baba, I am listening through these ears. How could you teach Raj Yoga without a body? There is definitely the birth of Shiva, Shiv Jayanti, it occurs. But Baba says, I come, but no one is aware of this. Baba explains, I enter only the body of Brahma every cycle, not anyone else's body. And he has taken the full 84 births. There cannot be any change in this. He was the emperor, and then at the end of the cycle, he became the master of knowledge, and now he has to become an emperor again. This drama is predestined. The devotees remember that there is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shankar, but only Brahma would be called Prajapita, the father of the people. Neither Vishnu nor Shankar would be called Prajapita. So Praja means the people. And it is said that I change the people, the embodied souls, into deities. He doesn't create entirely new people. He changes the people who have fallen and makes them rejuvenated. That's called creation. So Baba asks children, do you want to go to heaven? Will you surrender yourselves? I have now come. Therefore, remember me. As much as possible, continue to reduce your remembrance of bodily beings. What's the best way to reduce remembering bodily beings? I can't hear you.
Fill your mind up with something else.
Fill your mind up with something else. Yes, but I think also to realize that they're not that great. Because they will take advantage of you, and they're pretty selfish. And what do you get from them in comparison with what you get from Baba? So they don't compare very favorably. So and also they're very unreliable. So remembrance goes to where you get something. And if people don't give you anything but just try to take and disempower you and betray you, deceive you, and so on, then you'll say, okay, have a nice day. But with Baba, you get everything. And so you play your parts, and you are karma yogis. Do whatever you have to do through the day, and at the same time, be in such remembrance that you remember no one else but me at the end. Otherwise, you will take birth where your love is connected. It does take effort to live at home with your family and remember the Father. So your Father says, stay up at night. It will not spoil your health, but you will actually receive more strength by having yoga at night. That means from Amrit Vela. Spin the discus of self-realization. Rotate that. You are a possessor of the Swadarshana chakra, and then you have to rotate it. So, beloved children who have conquered sleep, he is telling this to the one whose chariot he has taken. You know that he becomes the emperor So he must conquer sleep. He must stay up and take power in the early morning hours. Baba used to meditate around 2 o'clock in the morning. Service must be done during the day, and you earn your income. That is, you pull the spiritual power into yourself at night. Devotees also get up early in the morning, and their gurus tell them to turn the beads of a rosary. And they wouldn't be able to do that while working. Some people keep their rosary in their pockets and turn the beads there. For you, wake up early in the morning and remember Baba. Churn the ocean of knowledge. It is only by having remembrance that your sins will be resolved, neutralized. In order to become ever healthy, you must be in constant remembrance. Then only will your final thoughts lead you to your destination. And you will receive a very high status. There is no need to stumble around. Stay in silence and just study. Forget all the things you have studied, the bhakti and everything up until now. Consider yourselves to be souls and remember the Father. It is the soul that makes the body do all the actions. That makes each soul Karan Karavan Har, the one who gets things done through another. The Supreme Father, the Supreme Soul, also comes and gets things done through this one. The soul acts and gets action done through others. When you imbibe these points very well, then you will become worthy, that is, competent. Baba considers those who understand everything and who then explain to others as worthy or competent. And then they are able to claim the high status in heaven. He considers those who don't explain to others to be unable to gain a high status. The Father says, become such that you do become kings and queens. Such children are called worthy, or competent, capable children. These matters have to be understood. You don't need to do anything else. Baba frees you from everything else. Just remember one thing, that whatever you remember in your final moments, such is where you will go. The serviceable children will quickly make cartoons from Baba's murlis, and there are some people who do that. And they will churn the ocean of knowledge. You children have to do service, and serviceable children receive blessings from the Father. Blessings are also number wise. Many people have the idea that Baba, because he's God, he has to give equal blessings to everybody equally. That's a prejudice or a preconception based on no understanding. It comes from their religious background and assumptions. So many people have assumptions about God, and then they believe their assumptions. And then when it turns out not to be right, then they get very upset. So Baba says blessings are number wise. So whatever you do, you'll get blessings accordingly. And if you do things that are quite against Baba, then how will you get any blessings? Because these are consequences of action. Everything is a result of karma. So the unlimited Father says to all of you children, follow the mother and father. This one, Brahma Baba, receives knowledge from Shiv Baba. And Brahma claims a high status. So why don't you? If you follow now, you will receive a high status cycle after cycle. And if you fail now, then you will fail cycle after cycle. So it's very important to choose. Acha. To the sweetest, beloved, long lost and now found children, love, remembrance, and good morning from the mother, the father, Bap Dada, and the spiritual father says namaste to the spiritual children. The spiritual children say namaste to the spiritual father. So the essence, in order to receive the father's blessings, be serviceable. Do the service of making others like yourself, knowledgeable, good practitioners of all the attributes of Raj Yoga. Become a god of knowledge and then an emperor or empress. Make effort to stay in remembrance of the One Father. Have no attachment to any bodily being. Become a conqueror of sleep and earn an income at night. The blessing is, may you become a loving being by transforming your fierce, fiery form with your cool form of love. That's referring to angry people. In return for your love, the Father, the bestower of blessings, gives you the blessings that may you be the loving being at every moment for every soul in every situation. Do not abandon or forget your loving image, your loving face, your loving interactions, connections, and relationship of love. No matter how fearful or fearsome a person may be, or how fearsome matter or Maya may be, even if they come in front of you in their fiery forms, constantly continue to transform them with the coolness of love. Create a world of love with your loving drishti, attitude, and actions. And the slogan is, you can develop the power to overcome all difficulties. So, do not be afraid. Now experience the stage of being merged in love. Souls who are equal to Baba, the same as Baba, and who have a stage of being merged in love are always yogi. They're not the ones who have to make effort to have yoga, but they are merged in love. If they're not separate from Baba, then they have no need to make effort to remember. Their remembrance comes naturally. Where you have the company of Baba, there is a natural remembrance. And the stage of souls who are like Baba in this way is the stage of being together and being merged. Om Shanti. So we will offer Bhog. Think about this question of your last thought. and how it's connected with being in relationship with Baba all the time, a practical relationship. Talking to Baba is very good because you keep him with you. And you never know when death comes. It can be unexpected. Om Shanti. Offering Bhog to Baba today in the last moments. I experienced being carried to see the world from Baba's view. And it's something that he tells us many times to do. But oftentimes we get focused on the local, on where we are, on who's around, what's going on in a small area. And Baba's vision on the world is he sees the whole planet at once. And so he kind of pulled me to there. And when you see the whole planet at once, you also see that you're so distant from it that there is no question of doing anything, right? If you are a space person, an astronaut, and you go up very far, you see the world as a beautiful blue pearl in the cosmos. But my perspective on it was not so far away like an astronaut, but probably the distance of they have spy planes which are quite far up. An airplane may be 40,000 feet up, but if you go maybe 100,000 feet or somewhere where you can really see the curvature of the earth, but not just a little marble in the sky. But that perspective was interesting because many people, they are motivated with this idea that you must do something. Right? And people want to do different kinds of service, or they want to put right something that's gone wrong, or they want to construct some event or some building or something like this. And it's very normal for people to be busy with something. And many times Baba has said that the process of godly service is partly to make your fortune, but partly to keep you occupied. And I remember Chandruban telling me that when she first came in Gyan, she thought that, yes, stay in Madhuban. And Dadi Prakashmani had told her, no, go out and do service because you'll be bored here. And so being engaged in activities is very good to get a feeling of accomplishment and to do something. But also with this experience of being pulled far to sit with Baba, looking at the world from a big distance, then the thought arises in the mind, okay, if Baba is looking at the world with this much distance, what is the usefulness of such a perspective? Because he is just looking, he's not doing anything. He has come to the earth, he has spoken through Sakar Baba, he has spoken through Avyakt Baba, and all of that activity and Shrimad, instructions and interaction with the family, that has completed. It's not happening anymore in that way. And it was the feeling, okay, this is where I am now. Baba was saying, I'm watching everything from afar. So come and do that also. And just see. And of course, Baba says, become like the Father. So to become like the Father and sit with the Father, looking at the world from a big distance, not really detached observer, but just that seeing the world from afar is to see things the way Baba is seeing them at this time. So maybe it's connected with the idea of withdrawing. And in the Murli today, Baba spoke about your last thought takes you to your destination. But as you move towards your destination, definitely there's a time when you're distant. You make yourself distant. And so there may be many things to read into this positioning, this perspective, but definitely I think it's a message from Baba that take big space between you and what's going on, and be with Baba and look at the world from far. And what you see is not the details, but you just see this vast ocean. The ocean is 70% of the earth. So when you look at the earth, you see the ocean more than the land. So, Om Shanti. Come and take Bhog. And for those on Zoom who want to know, we have bundi laddu, and we have some chickpeas. This looks like brown chickpeas, and fruits, oranges, grapes, cherries, and you want to see? Can you see? You can see. I think so, you can see. So, share with us. Om Shanti. Okay, so I'm just reading. Please elaborate on the line, the only evolutionary time is the confluence age. Well, this is because Baba has said, everything passes through Sato to Rajo to Tamo. Or it starts Sato Pradhan, the golden age, and goes all the way down to Tamo Pradhan. So the only time when there is evolution, progress, that's the confluence age, because you go from completely impure to completely pure, completely old to completely new. Most people, the scientists, the Vedantic people and all, they believe that there is progress going on all the time, all the time, all the time. And no, Baba says it's not. He brings the earth and the people and everything to its high point during the confluence age, and then there is decline all the way through until he comes again. So the evolution, the development, even he says you go from monkeys to deities in one birth. So monkeys from a character point of view, not from a body point of view. So that's what that is. And why does Baba say not to remember anyone apart from Baba? What is the deeper meaning when he says so? He's talking about this is our last birth, and so this is also our last death. And ordinarily, as you pass through the cycle, you will take rebirth according to your karmic accounts. And whoever there's this last thought, this is like a spiritual law. Your last thought takes you to your destination. That means where you will reincarnate. But this is our last death. And we have to make sure it's the last one. And so where do you want to go? You want to go to Baba, to Shiv Baba in the soul world. You don't want to reincarnate. And the only way you can do that is by detaching yourselves gradually through this whole life, letting go of everything and everyone and everywhere until you are just focused on Baba and you're letting go of everything. So then your last thought will be Baba and go and don't come back. So this is why he's saying it. But you can't do that just like that. You have to really do this gradually through your whole life. So the ideal situation is when you come into Gyan relatively young and you keep yourself free, which is not so easy because you do get caught up in all sorts of people and places and things. And then you have to get free from them. And eventually you get the point that it's all about totally letting go and you're ready to let go. And then you, I think it's also important to go through a complete disillusionment. Because as long as there are the illusions that this would be nice and that would be nice and this one is good and that one is good and this position is nice and this money is good or whatever, you have to be disillusioned from all of it to realize that none of it is really interesting and that you come to know Baba more and more, who he is, what he is, and he becomes very interesting and his treasures very interesting. So then you can actually get to a point where you just Baba is your world and you go. Takes time. Can we do service not only giving the BK teachings to others, but doing something for the environment? And will this bring the Sanskaras to the golden age? Well, there are a lot of people who have different projects. And actually what he tells us is the only thing that will actually restore the environment to its original condition is our practice of yoga. It's the only thing that will do it. And so we do that. And giving the message of Baba to people is what they need, because they need to know that they're souls and that they're immortal and that they have a connection with God, regardless of their religion or tradition, and that they can take power from God. Because if they don't, it'll be extremely difficult to get through what is happening, because what he's saying is everything is collapsing, and it's because the world is changing, and it won't reform itself into the golden age environment and society without this teaching that Baba is giving, and without the power that Baba is giving and the qualities. And so it is actually the best thing to do. But I think that the understanding of the knowledge for many people is quite shallow still, and the quality of yoga is still quite shallow, and so people want to do other things. There's a great deal of distraction going on, which is okay, but it's not really going to do that much. It will maybe satisfy you for a little bit, to have the feeling that you've done something, but eventually it doesn't do it for you, and it doesn't really make the difference to the world that the yoga and the gyan makes. So it's a question of deepening that understanding, and then you will arrive at the golden age. He says sometimes you are creating the golden age, but under his instructions. So if we do other things, it's really the only thing that it will do is it'll bring you into contact with people who have large networks, so then you can give the message that way. But that's really all it will do. What does Baba mean when he uses the word serviceable in English? Okay, serviceable means that you understand the knowledge and you can articulate it and make it relevant to people according to their background, so that they will get it and they'll be able to take advantage of it. Because this is what he wants. He wants people to be able to understand who he is, who they are, and what's happening. So to the extent that we're able to communicate that, that is called serviceable. I will have my last thought with Baba and the Golden Age before I die, and it will happen. Why not? But nobody knows when you will die and under what circumstances. So he says, practice this because it will help you when the moment comes. Can you zoom in to see my face more clearly? You really don't need to see my face more clearly. From a distance, yes. Beautiful song from Bette Midler. What are the karmic consequences of blacklisting a convicted wrongdoer to the audience of a particular discipline, like an estate agent will blacklist a tenant, where blacklisting serves to alert others, but also serves to get the wrongdoer to make up for his misdemeanors? Well, you know, I think that a question like this, you have to look at the circumstances, look at the people involved, and then bear in mind the knowledge and make a decision if you have to make a decision. But I don't think that we can really make a general statement about something as specific as that. The blue on Earth from the short trip will. There are so many photographs that you can see of the Earth from space or from people who are quite high above the Earth. And so I remember when I think it was in 1969, when the first went to the moon. And at that time, the entire world was watching television, wherever you were. And whenever it happened, the whole world was glued. I think it was the first time that the whole world was glued to the same thing. And I was in Yugoslavia at that time, when it was Yugoslavia. And it was a very incredible moment for this feeling that everyone on Earth is focused on the same thing at the same time. And after that, everybody's feeling about the Earth or vision of the Earth changed, because it was the first time you could see the Earth from that far away, that you could see the whole thing at once. And many people said, "Oh my God, really, it's round," because people believe it's round, but until you experience it directly and see it, you don't really get it in the same way. And I had a similar experience when I was looking through a big telescope at Saturn, and like, wow, it really does have rings, because when people tell you something, you accept it, but there's a reservation. Your whole education is like you say, okay, whatever it is, we came from dinosaurs or amoebas or whatever, you accept it. But until you sort of experience the reality as it is, you don't get it. And when you do experience the reality and you get it, like, wow, yeah, this is what it looks like when you look at it from there. And it changes your relationship with the Earth. And what the astronauts were saying is that, they could put their thumb over it. The Earth was so small, you could put your thumb over it. I mean, it's so big when you're on the Earth and so small when you're that far away. And so it was shifting people's perception enormously. And now everybody is born knowing that you can look at the Earth from there. And then a lot of people, they want to go and actually see it from space. And now there are the space tourism happening, or the very, very high spy airplanes. So the pilots of airplanes fly planes because they love it. It's not just a job. They like to fly. And it's really nice I think, to know that in the golden age, I don't think we'll fly particularly high in the golden age, but we will fly. Our transportation is flying machines. And so we will be effectively like birds who can be walking around or flying. And when we go any kind of distance, it'll be by flight. So it's all very science fiction kind of thing. But you can see that in the last 100 years, which sometimes Baba mentions, Daddy Janki, who was born in what 18 something, she said, when electricity started, we were not very sure about whether we liked this thing or not. And this house where we are living in here, the center in San Francisco, was designed for gas lighting. And that's the change that has taken place, the movement in terms of science and technology and the speed of everything and the difficulty that older people have to catch up with all the requirements and the expertise that you must have with the internet and electronic this and that. And so we have to move very, very quickly in terms of technology and perspective and perception, and what we think is normal keeps changing. What we think is required keeps changing. Speed of life is going faster and faster. We are all like monitored all the time, and everybody knows what anybody writes or speaks. Everything is recorded. There's gazillions of photographs of everything all the time. Everyone's on CCTV all the time. The world is very different, and it keeps changing rapidly, rapidly, rapidly. And we are, they used to talk a lot about global village, and we can see the whole world. We can sort of our connection with the world is not so local; it's global. And I mean, before COVID, when people used to fly around a lot, you go all over the place, and everywhere looked very similar. All the airports looked the same. All the mixture of people looks the same everywhere. And it's a very, very different place very rapidly. So this experience of Bog, of just pulling back, and what do you see when you pull back, at least in this particular instance, just the blue earth and blue sky. And I think the idea is to have this perspective of pulling out, zooming out, and see the whole. And then we have to think about what is the value of zooming out and seeing the whole, and not being limited to something small that we are physically connected with, very small. Shanti. So have a wonderful day. Let us have a few moments with Baba and enjoy the day of the Satguru.